So, like a very large number of companies, you have a CRM, you've got Salesforce, and you're winning opportunities. That's fantastic. But from a finance point of view, we need this to get into the general ledger, in this case, Sage Intacct. What we want to do is to have those opportunities and, of course, the associated accounts move over to Sage Intacct, and actually I want to put them in as draft invoices in here, which I don't have any at the moment because we haven't gone into DataBlend just yet. So to make all that happen, we can come into DataBlend, this is the dashboard, but importantly, we don't have to, right? So often we'll schedule these workflows to happen as often as you like. I happen to have mine happening at 3 a.m. But at any time, I can come in here, Salesforce close one to Sage Intacct Invoices. I can push the button and off it goes. And we are doing that in that one workflow, taking the Salesforce accounts to Sage Intacct customers and the Salesforce close one opportunities into invoices. And that's the end user experience. In terms of the back end, you create your credentials for the different systems. There's nothing exciting in there, just your usernames, passwords, tokens, and all sorts of things. But once that's set up, then we have our collectors, which are going to choose what data do we want to bring from each system. So we want to bring things from Salesforce. So if I just choose my credential for Salesforce and query collect type, all the objects of Salesforce are immediately available to me. And in the background, DataBlend is querying Salesforce to see just what things you have available. And that could include anything custom that you may build in Salesforce. But here, if I've got an account, for example, I can get all of these fields, and actually I can look at, so created by ID, that's linking to a different object, so I can pull through the fields associated with that. So it's all just point and click. You don't need to be a technical data person to understand what's happening here. Since we're here, very similar idea if we want to pull data from Sage Intacct for something else. All right, I'm going to say I want to do a query, and here's all the Sage Intacct objects. In just the same fashion, if I choose customer, here's all the fields ready to go. If I go into the collectors that I've already built, if I look at my Salesforce closed one, we can see I've chosen these particular fields as having what I need to create the invoice within Sage Intacct. So I've collected some data from Salesforce, but now I need to get it in the right format for Sage Intacct. And if I look at, say, Salesforce accounts to Sage Intacct customers, we're going to select a set of columns from that collector, and we can filter by whatever we want. In this case, the account number is not null. And then it's a mapping exercise, right? Here, it's called billing city in Salesforce, but it needs to be called city in Sage Intacct. So this particular one's actually pretty straightforward. If you do have a requirement for a more advanced transformation, let me show you an example of this one here. When I'm pulling from Sage Intacct, going to Workday Adaptive Planning, that doesn't require technical knowledge either. So I can say I'm going to pull through the batch date. It's going to be called date in the target system, but I need to change the format of the date. It's all just pick and click. So for a huge number of the things that we may have to do to data in between, it's just pick and click, drop downs, menu choices, that sort of thing. And once we've changed the data to what we need it to be, we just need to point it at where it needs to go. And if I look at, for example, the Sage Intacct Invoices, literally it's saying, what sort of Sage Intacct object is it? What do we want to do? Do we want to create? Do we want an auto upsert, which means update if it exists, or insert if it doesn't? Entirely up to you. And then we have workflows. And all a workflow is a combination of one or more of those things. So if I look at Salesforce closed one Sage Intacct Invoices, we have a few steps. We're going to collect Salesforce accounts, and then we're going to run a data quality report, which we'll come back to in a sec. We're going to send it off to Sage Intacct customers. Then and only then we'll collect the Salesforce opportunities and send the opportunities into Sage Intacct Invoices. That data quality report is absolutely critical, because what I can do, and it's using that same query engine that we use to change the data around for pushing into Sage Intacct. If I bring up this email here, we can see that on the way, we're checking the data. And so often the CRM data doesn't have what we need on the finance side of the house to send these invoices out. In this case, here's a list of the records that have missing fields, in this case, city. And you can set that up to be whatever you need. In my case, it's demo. I don't stop the workflow, but you can. Right? If we find something we shouldn't, if we don't find something we should, then we can stop the workflow. We can send email notifications to anybody, and they don't have to be users of the system. We could send some to us in finance and some over to our colleagues in sales, saying, hey, sort these out so that we can pull them through, we can invoice them, and you can get your commissions. And in advance is where we schedule it. Right? Come into presets, it's where we say, I want to run every day, every few minutes, well, whatever I need it to be. And if we go back to my dashboard, that workflow is complete. If we pop back into Sage Intacct and hit refresh, here's all the draft invoices that have been automatically created for me in a very short space of time.